Man, why are we going to a church in the middle of the woods?
Because Bowser Jr. invited us here. Or did you forget to read the invitation?
Yeah, keep talking and I'll put a bullet in your mother skull.
Yo, chill, man. Why are you so hostile most of the time?
Look, mother, I'm hungry as hell, so this trip better be worth it like that last time you put us through.
I still can't believe we've been invited to a church of all places.
You think this can mean anything? I mean, think about it. What exactly are we gonna talk about in a church?
Maybe Bowser Jr. wants us to help him slaughter demons. I don't care if it's vampires, werewolves, zombies, succubi, puppets, or clowns. I'll slay them all. Sorry.
Don't mind him. He plays way too much Doom.
Okay, this must be the place.
Welcome, gamer children. I've been expecting you.
And who the hell are you?
Just a man sitting in my church all alone, enjoying the peace of God.
Are you guys sure this is the right place?
Well, yeah. The GPS brought us here to this address.
I wonder if Bowser Jr. Fan 13 has made it here before us.
Ah, so you're the guest that Bowser Jr. Fan has told me about, eh?
How do you know who he is?
Are you supposed to be a demon?
Where's the mother chicken wings and the ham hocks, fool?
Be cold.
We ain't got all day, okay? Just give me something to eat before I go crazy.
Ignore him. So how do you know about Junior Fan 13?
We both share the same love for two certain video game franchises. He also appreciates crossovers, which I can respect.
So you're a gamer just like us.
Yep.
Not exactly what I expected, but that's cool.
Hey, speaking of which, where's Bowser Jr. Fan?
He told me he'll be running late, so he'll be joining us as soon as he arrives.
How the hell is someone gonna take this long after inviting us?
Does it really matter as well? The point is that we're here at least.
Please, make yourselves at home. I love visitors.
Dude, I'm getting a bad feeling about this guy.
Really? How so?
I don't trust him. He just let us into his church without much denial. If I see the slightest hint of treachery, he's dead meat.
Jump to conclusions. We don't exactly know if he's human or not. Let's just go with the flow since BJ knows this guy.
This is a nice place you got here. Are you sure you're a gamer just like Bowser Jr. Fan?
Indeed. As brothers and sisters of gaming, we all share the same compassion throughout the video game foundation.
So, what game are we going to talk about?
We're discussing two video game franchises that deserve a crossover, of course. And those games are called...
Man, what the you got to eat in this bitch?
What's your problem?
I'm hungry as a mother. I don't want to sit in this boring ass room unless this piece of shit has some food.
Be cold. Just stop. You're acting like an asshole.
And you're acting like a bitch.
Do you guys have to deal with this every day?
No, but it can be a prick most of the time.
Calm yourselves, brothers and sisters. I have already had food ordered and prepared before you came in. I got pizza, buffalo wings, chili cheese fries, ice cream sundaes, cake, wine, soda, and even lollipops.
Oh, hell yeah.
So what games are we talking about?
Well, are you aware of the two games known as Devil May Cry and Bayonetta?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah!
Of course!
Yeah, I know those games.
What?
What?
Wait, you haven't heard of those games?
Nope.
Haven't played them.
Neither did I, but I did watch the Devil May Cry anime. I actually enjoyed it.
Are we talking about a Devil May Cry Bayonetta crossover game?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sounds fun.
But can you give me some information about the franchise since some of us don't have much experience with them?
Absolutely. I will tell you within a story. Now then, let's begin, shall we? This is the story of the two tales that I am about to tell you of our heroes. Long ago, the world was split into two different realms. Consisting of light was the human realm, and consisting of darkness, the demon realm. Amongst the demon realm lived a ruler named Mundus, who took over the demon realm and wanted to conquer all worlds to prove he was the most powerful. However, one of his many men, a legendary knight named Sparta, rebelled against his master. Having felt sympathy for the humans, decided to protect them and seal away the demons back to their world. Amongst his victory, becoming the hero and the legend that he is today, Sparta decides to live the rest of his life as a normal man with his new wife Eva and his two sons Dante and Virgil, and life seemed to be good for them. But after his parents deceased and the disappearance of his brother, Dante decided to take a new route to his life. He decides to become a demon hunter and therefore hunt down any demons that would hurt the humans and take any jobs to pay his bills. And as he would fight off these demons, he would even open up his own demon hunting business within his shop that would share the same name of his franchise. And that name was Devil May Cry. Similar to the tale that I've just said, this one seems to be quite different and unique to itself. Keeping the world in balance left two separate clans. The Lumen Sages, who wield the power of the right eye of light while also seeking help from the angels from heaven, and the Umbra Witches, who wield the left eye of darkness while seeking help from the demons from hell. Though the two clans seemed to be different, there were two separate members from different clans who fell in love with each other. The Lumen Sage Battler and the Umbra Witch Rosa decided to fall in love, and they become a husband and wife, thus giving birth to their lovely daughter, Cereza. And this destroyed the balance between the two clans. As they would start a war against each other, the Umbra Witches led to victory, but then the humans started to rebel against the Umbra Witches, starting the witch hunt. And with both of her parents deceased, or one of her parents being deceased, Cereza decides to become an Umbra Witch, but because there were utter chaos and other wars and destruction happening, one of her best friends, Jean, basically erased her memories and sealed her away for 500 years. Now 500 years later, as she is reawakened, she decides to find her memories and find out who she truly is, while also seeking a new name, which she shares with her franchise. And that name was Bayonetta. Seeking interest from these two games, a little boy stumbled across a man who loved these two franchises. The boy also loved the franchises as much as him, so he walked up to the man and asked him a very important question. Will these two ever meet? Will we ever get to see a crossover between them? Will Sega and Capcom unite once again? Will we ever get Devil May Cry cross Bayonetta? Guys, this has been stuck in my head for quite a long time, but I feel like I need to get this out, and I'm probably not the only one who thinks this, but Devil May Cry and Bayonetta should have a crossover. No, I'm serious. These two franchises, built by the same developer, should have a crossover and have the characters meet together, and for numerous reasons. I'll explain why. I mean, like, in terms of how it would fit together and why these two would cross over together, well, I think it's mostly because, well, the lore and the backstories between both worlds and both franchises, they are somehow connected with each other. And there are constant references within both the games, the anime, and the manga. And if you don't believe me, well, apparently where I got this information is apparently this YouTuber called Cybertech Werewolf, shout out to him. I want to thank him so much for coming up with this video on Devil May Cry Cross Bayonetta, and I gotta say, he did a really good job with this video explaining the lore and like basically references in each franchises on how they could be connected, and that really helped me with this video, so I think it would definitely work out. So thank you to Cybertech Werewolf for coming up with this idea. And anyways, I'm going to show you guys why my ideas for Devil May Cry and Bayonetta crossover should happen. Well, anyways, so the reason why they should cross over, other than the whole producer is the creator of both the franchises, here's another explanation on why these two should cross over, because they're both very similar, as they have angels, devils, and all sorts of demons and monsters coming from different worlds and stuff. It would be totally cool, and also you got characters who are very similar to one another. I mean, you got the edgy, cool, badass, and stylish protagonist, followed by their longtime polar opposite rivals, and their parents of different alignments, their friends that they met across the years, and their little proteges or successors, if you must. And both series are beat-em-ups where basically you do a bunch of crazy combos against all these different sorts of monsters, and you have multiple different weapons and abilities in your arsenal, and it can work really well. And although they do have a few differences with their gameplay, we could incorporate both of them into this game. Like, for example, the climax or the quick time events in the Bayonetta series. Like, whenever there's a certain event happening in a mission, we could have a quick time event, which if you do the quick time event successfully, it will add up to your points. And the points could also be added up from both the quick time events and the combos into Devil May Cry's ranking system, because Devil May Cry is well known for its ranking system, and the ranking system, of course, is very dependent on how long your combos are and how many stylish moves you have and how well you perform. And we could have all of that implemented into this game as well. And of course, I think this is crazy for me to do this, but you know how in some beat-em-up action games where there's this mode you can activate for a short amount of time and basically use it to beat up your opponents, like with these crazy transformations or buff modes, and basically it could also add up to all sorts of points and ranks and stuff, and basically make your gameplay a lot easier or something like that. Well, I've been thinking about how to implement both the devil triggers and the demon summoning or demon transformations within this game. Like, let's have a system where there will be a separate meter, and you could build it up depending on how good your combos are and all that stuff. And the more you build it up, you will be able to activate your transformations. As for the Devil May Cry characters, they will activate their devil triggers. Meanwhile, as for the Bayonetta characters, they will transform into their demon transformations or their Umbra Witch transformations, like the transformations that they use. I don't know what they call it in Bayonetta, and it's hard for me to remember or pronounce it, but I think you guys basically understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, we can implement that into the gameplay, but hold on, I haven't even gotten to what type of playable characters will we have. My bad, let me get into that right now. So the game will have two separate campaigns. The first one will be the Demon Hunter campaign, where you will play as the Devil May Cry characters Dante, Virgil, and Nero. And the other one will have the Umbra Witch campaign, which will have you play as the Umbra Witches Bayonetta, Jeanne, and Viola. And there will also be a bonus campaign where you can play as both sets of characters, and there will be like missions where you play as each of those specific characters, and there might be a campaign where you can play as both of them. I'm not sure how that would work, but I think they could like find a way to work it out. But anyways, yeah, so the Umbra Witch and the Demon Hunter campaign, there will be two separate different stories that will connect with each other. Maybe there will be scenes where like, in terms of like the story, like the Demon Hunters and the Umbra Witches meet together, and they would of course fight each other, only to realize that they're both on the same side, and this big threat that's happening is like threatening both of their worlds, and they realize that they have to team up together if they want to restore them. And I feel like that could work because Bayonetta 3 has been going into the whole multiversal situation within its story, so that could work on how both universes can meet. And listen, I really don't want to bring up this game because I know I really hate it that much, and I know we all hate it, but I would really love to have a secret boss fight in the Umbra Witch campaign where Bayonetta will have to fight, and I regret saying this, DMC Devil May Cry Dante. Yes, I know this Dante sucks, and I know the reboot is terrible, but I just can't get it out of my head, and I don't think any of us could forget about it, but I would love for a secret boss fight for Bayonetta to fight against DMC Dante, like, just as a joke, because, like, it'll, like, be, like, good for, all those people who hated the reboot could fight against this character and have Bayonetta beat the hell out of, reboot Dante. And we could also have Dante do the same thing, too, where he could beat up reboot Dante, but alright, but I know what you're gonna be saying. Like, how is this gonna work? Like, how are you gonna have, characters, like, fighting the same bosses and stuff? Like, just to make sure that the whole games aren't, like, repetitive, like, to make sure the campaigns aren't repetitive. I mean, some of the campaigns will have the same boss fights, but there will be some exclusive boss fights to an exclusive campaign, and only certain characters will be fighting it. But if you want to go into that campaign's mission and you want to fight against the boss as different characters, well, you can. There will basically be a free mode, kind of like in the Lego games, where in this free mode you can basically go into any level and fight any boss as whatever character you want, and it doesn't matter what character you're playing or what campaign you're playing, you'll get to do whatever you please, like how in Devil May Cry, where I think in Devil May Cry 4, Dante will be fighting Nero's bosses, just like as he did in that game. But I think you guys understand what I'm talking about. But going back into the whole Devil Trigger and demon summoning transformations, basically we're gonna have, like, the way how the Devil Triggers work in the Devil May Cry games, we're gonna have the Bayonetta characters transform into their transformations for a short amount of time. Like, I'd say we probably would have to make the transformations last for about, I guess, 1 minute and 30 seconds. That way you could have some fun with it. So we feel like it's not too short, but it's not dragging on forever either, and it's not too broken. And plus, to make it even more interesting, we could also have the transformations, like, play a specific song that will help you get motivated, and it would depend on which character you're playing as. Yeah, so yeah, depending on whichever character you're playing as, it'll play a song or a theme song for the character. Like, for example, Like, come on, it's an opportunity you can't miss out on. And of course, the final campaign will be a bonus campaign like the final story, where basically you'll be playing as both sets of characters in their own separate missions. I've already discussed this before, but also I want to drag out, like, basically talk about the elephant in the room. I know some of you are thinking about, well, what about the Devil May Cry DLC bonus story expansion? Because yes, I know in Devil May Cry 3, 4, and 5, they have these bonus campaigns or bonus DLC stories where you would play as Virgil and have him plowing through demons and all sorts of monsters and all that stuff, basically to add on to his story. But, however, since Virgil is now in the main campaign, we could give this DLC campaign to some of the other characters. Like, let's have this story focus on the playable characters Rodon and Luca and Trish and Lady. Yeah, we could have those be part of the bonus DLC campaign, because I don't remember if we ever had Rodon or Luca as playable characters, but since they have their own powers and abilities, we could have them play into the DLC story. And I would love Trish and Lady to be in the DLC story as well, since, well, you know, it's been quite a long time since Trish and Lady has ever been playable in a DMC game, so we would give them the spotlight. And of course, we would have like Nico and Enzo supporting them. Even though they'll be NPCs and non-playable characters, they would be good for some of the fan service and for some of the funny jokes and gags. Oh, speaking of fan service, let's get into that. Okay, so my ideas for all sorts of different type of fan service. Now, there's a lot to explain and go on about. Now, I'm not sure what type of fan service there is, because I haven't been keeping on with the lore and the backstories that often, but I do know like a little bit of a handful of it. But here's what we could do for some of the fan service and some of the jokes and gags. Like, for example, with Dante and Bayonetta, we could have them do a little dance-off. Since we know in some Bayonetta games, Bayonetta is very stylish at dancing. And we gotta admit, that whole dance scene with the cruise ship on Bayonetta 3, it's just amazing. And Dante is no stranger to dancing, especially with the whole infamous Michael Jackson scene, which is still funny to this day. And also, we could have Virgil and Jean have some sort of fan service with each other. Now, I'm not sure what type of fan service they would have, since even though they're both rivals to our heroes, we could have some sort of fan service between them, like as they're competing with each other. We could have like maybe both of them spurting out lines and different sorts of dialogue from songs and poems. Like, Jean would probably say out a bunch of lines from some songs, since, I don't know, I think she likes listening to music as far as I can tell. And Virgil could be saying stuff from some poems, because we know he loves reading his books and all that stuff. And of course, if we want to talk about some other funny gags, we could have like Nico and Enzo chatting with each other. Like, Enzo is basically making a fool out of himself and being like a literal punching bag to all the characters, including Nico, because, well, Nico is very funny. And maybe we could have a scene where as she's driving everyone, Nico is just driving like very recklessly, and Enzo is just calling her out for all of that. It would just be very, very funny, believe me. And not only that, we could have some like funny moments with Nero and Viola, because these two are very similar. Because not only are they descendants of our heroes, with Viola being Bayonetta and Luca's daughter, and Nero being Virgil's son and Dante's nephew, we could have them basically have some of their cool moments with each other, showing off how cool they are, maybe competing with each other a bit, and of course throwing a lot of swear and curse words at each other, because if you know anything about them, not only are they very similar towards each other, like, they are also known for swearing a lot, because they have mouths that are so filthy they can make sailors blush.
My name is Viola, and you're never gonna forget it. Come on, grab my shoulder. I know you wanna.
Say cry again. Devil May Cry. You said, hey.
Hey, we can even have like a scene where, you know how in that, in the final boss of Devil May Cry 5 when, Nero is fighting against Virgil and you know that scene when he transformed into his Devil Trigger and he says, let's have him do that with Viola, but instead of being triggered or instead of being imitated by Nero, she could do the same thing to Nero as she's transforming into her form, and then that could probably start up their fight. And maybe before they start even doing that, we could have them throwing insults at each other and both of them getting triggered because they're both very short-tempered and they're both hotheads. Believe me, it could work that way. Now, I don't know how the villain would plan this or what sorts of villain we could have, but I think Capcom and Sega could come up with some sort of idea with it. And speaking of Capcom and Sega, like, I'm telling you, this is all perfect. I mean, just think about it. Like, this whole crossover should happen because, I mean, believe me, these two companies have crossed over with each other, and if Sonic and Mega Man could have a crossover, so could Dante and Bayonetta. And maybe this could be a last piece of my idea, but this piece of fan art that I have right here, this looks like it could be like an ending shot for the characters. Like, when they finish off the villain and when everything is all done and their worlds are going back to normal, this could be them saying farewell to each other as they're parting ways. Oh, speaking of finishing off the villain, I would love a scene for Dante and Bayonetta when they're finishing off their opponents. Both characters would say each other's dialogue or say each other's lines as they're finishing them off, or their catchphrases, like with Dante saying, "Don't rich," or even Bayonetta saying, "Don't you dare say it, jackpot." It could work. Like, I would so love this scene. It would make me so happy. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about my ideas about Bayonetta and Devil May Cry crossing over with each other. It's such an amazing idea. And as for what consoles this game would be on, I'm gonna be honest, we need this on every console. Don't make it Nintendo Switch exclusive, because yes, I know Nintendo sorta owns Bayonetta, but Sega primarily owns Bayonetta, and they're the main source of that franchise. So I mean, Bayonetta has also been on other consoles before, so she should be able to be on other consoles, the same with the Devil May Cry series. Like, let's have it on every single console. PlayStation 4, 5, the Xbox Series X and S, Switch, PC. You guys get the idea. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this idea. What do you guys think of my ideas for Devil May Cry Cross Bayonetta? Do you agree or disagree? And let me know what sort of ideas you have for all the fan service and all that. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for listening to my story, everyone. And that's the story of the two tales.
Wow.
Why would you know this much about two franchises?
Really, man?
My bad, but seriously, how the hell do you know all about this?
Are you supposed to be a demon?
Why would you assume he's a demon?
You never fail to amuse me, guys. But to answer your question, no, I am not a demon. Nor am I a human.
Wait a second. Then that means you are...
That's right, Zion.
How do you know who he is?
I'm glad you asked, Azriel. You all thought you were getting information from a random person? Nah, fools! It was me, Bowser Jr. Fan 13!
Dude, it was you the whole time?
Yep, way to go solving my mystery, guys.
But I don't understand. If you were the church owner this whole time, then why did you pretend to be someone else and set all this up?
I don't know. I mean, I was bored and I thought of maybe trying something different, like maybe something completely out of my style. But who am I to judge or blame? So anyway, what did you guys think of my ideas?
I thought they were brilliant.
Not bad, man.
That idea is cool as hell.
I liked it.
I mean, it's a good idea, but it may be too soon due to the Helena Taylor situation.
Why?
What happened?
What happened?
I'd rather we not go deep into that territory for now. Let's go home, guys. I'm tired after all of this.
Same.
Someday the time will come. And when it happens, I will be happy.